food you see at the grocery store is pretty standard. A lot of times they will use particular fertilizers or particular pesticides to keep the crops disease-free, or herbicides to keep the weeds down around them. But if you have a seed catalog, you may be able to choose what you actually want to grow. Today I wanted to kind of look at the cucumbers. And if you've never looked at a seed catalog before, I'm going to give you a couple tips so that you can make some really good decisions. And I'm choosing cucumbers today because it's too soon to start them inside. Do not start these inside right now. And it's better if you can plant them outside altogether. So we've got plenty of time to plant cucumber seeds. You are not behind in that. Cucumbers are going to want soil that's about 70 degrees, and they do not like cold at all. So this is not something that you want to try to sow seeds and then cover them to protect them from the cold, because they will not do well at all. They are, I call them diva annuals. They like particular conditions, and that's all they like. The good thing is that in Michigan, since we only have about 150 days that we can grow things in the warm seasons, these are all really short seasons. Some are 65 days till the time you plant, from the time you plant until the time you harvest. Some are 55, some are 60, some are 50. So these are really easy to grow within our growing season boundaries, but they are fussy and they only want to be grown in warm temperatures. That would be nighttime temperatures above 50 on a regular basis without any danger of frost. What you might have to protect them from is maybe hail. If you know a storm is coming, you may have to protect them. But otherwise, it's not time to start these inside. If you wanted to start them inside, you would do it probably about 3 weeks before you're going to plant outside, and you got to make sure it's warm. And the other thing is, it's a vine. So vines don't usually like to be started indoor with little pots because they don't like their roots disturbed. And one reason with vines that they don't like their roots disturbed is they send out these roots that are super, super strong, and they send them out sideways as far as they can go. And that makes a lot of sense because their work is to push upward, and they need those support roots. So if you plant the seeds like these vines in little cells, they will not do as well because those roots that are trying to push outward can't push outward, and they may end up circling the pot itself. So when you go to plant them, they're going to get disturbed. So let's take a look at some of these cucumbers. I'm going to start off right now with this big word, hybrid. And I want you to understand that hybrid does not mean GMO. It does not mean genetically modified. Hybrid means they took a plant with a certain characteristic that they liked, and they mated it, they pollinated it with another plant with characteristics that they like. And they created a child plant that has stronger characteristics than its two parent plants. What hybrid also means is that your seeds, if you try to save seeds from these hybrid plants and you try to regrow them, they will not grow into what you actually originally had. You won't get the same result as what you originally planted. So hybrid is not a bad word. Hybrid does not mean GMO. Hybrid just means it's got strong characteristics from other things, and it made a child plant that has these very good characteristics. For example, if you've ever grown cucumbers and had problems with powdery mildew or mosaic virus or wilts, you can see down here the Perseus hybrid. If you look down here, it says the full vines have an array of disease resistance, including mosaic virus, mildews, and wilts. This might be a good one for you to grow that will not succumb to the diseases that your cucumbers normally have had before. So cucumbers like the regular, like the heritage means it's like if you take those seeds from whatever those cucumbers are and you grow them out, they're going to be the same as the cucumber you got them from. That would be heritage. But the problem with those is that they often can get those diseases, and it really stinks. You've got these cucumbers that are growing on the vine, they're doing really well, and then boom, they get this wilt. And it's so sad. Or they start getting the mosaic virus, and that's not good either. But with the hybrids, like this one, you actually can have plants that will not get those diseases. Here's another one over here. It says Tasty Green Hybrid. This one also is resistant to cucumber vein yellowing virus and powdery mildew. So again, if you've had those problems in the past, these might be some options that you want to consider. Now, if you wanted something that is resistant to bugs, so you don't have to spread chemicals, maybe you would want to get the Diva. This Diva says the skin is pest resistant, so it's probably going to be a really thick skin. And this one also doesn't need a pollinator. It's self-pollinating, which would be kind of interesting. So if you haven't seen bees and things around your gardens, maybe you get this cucumber because you won't need a pollinator. Americana hybrid. This one did say that healthy vines hold up well to disease pressure. In this Gurney seed catalog, they have some growing tips at the top. And they tell us what they taste like at the peak. They can be bitter-free and burpless, which means they have less of the stuff that makes cucumbers taste bitter. As soon as they start developing the cucumbers, you want to check them all the time, because if they start turning yellow, that would be overdeveloped, then they lose their flavor. They taste like bitter, and they also are focused on making seeds. So many times, if you wait and leave cucumbers on the vine too long, they will actually die back and say, well, our job is done. We've made our seeds and now we're done. Like I said, these are kind of like diva plants. They need a little bit more care than, let's say, a tomato. And then they do have tips from the farm. It says, do not attempt to reposition established cucumber vines as they will not tolerate being handled. Trellises make harvesting fruits easier and keep vines out from underfoot. And they also show you there's some supports that you can get. You see, they're not really tall. They're not really tall, and they're like a flat panel. So I would not want to take up trellis space on a cattle panel arch for these. I would use a separate type of trellising for these so that I can use the cattle panel arches for melons or butternut squash or tomatoes or anything else like that. So some of these plants will grow to about 1 foot high, but then they will spread 6 foot tall. This Tasty Green Hybrid is one of those examples. In this seed catalog, it gives you the picture, it gives you the description, it tells you how long the fruits are, how many seeds they have and that kind of thing, how many seeds are in the packet, and it also tells you how long it takes for them to grow. That's what the 60 days is right here. That's how long it takes to grow from seed to harvest. But it doesn't tell you how long the vines are. So I looked it up and wrote down that they are 12 inches high, but they have a 6 foot spread. And you would need to know that in order to put in a trellis at planting time or right before planting time. So they have long enough or tall enough trellis to be able to grow. This one here says it's only 2 to 3 feet tall. That's what I wrote down, the Diva. So if your height space is limited or your trellis space is limited, you'd only need a 2 to 3 foot trellis for that one. The Perseus hybrid, this would need 4 to 5 feet. When I Googled it, looked it up at first, you know, that Google Assistant, it says, oh, they're only 4 to 6 inches tall. Maybe the plant is only 4 to 6 inches tall, but once the vines start growing out, they're going to spread 4 to 5 feet. And I wouldn't want my vines sprawling along the ground. I want them up, 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 up. 1, so there's better airflow. 2, so I can find the fruit easier. 3, so I am not putting my hands down on the ground where they may be snakes and other bugs I don't want to have to deal with. So then I would know I need a taller trellis. Now, you don't need super tall trellises. You wouldn't have to put them on a cattle panel arch because they don't grow that tall. Most of these are, 2 to 3. This one is 2 to 3 feet tall, straight 8. This one is 3 to 4 feet tall. That's 3 foot tall. That's 2 to 3 foot tall. That's 4 to 5 foot tall. This one says up to 6 foot. So your cucumbers can use a shorter trellis. You can leave your taller trellises for your indeterminate tomatoes. That would mean your vining tomatoes. In this catalog, it also has little symbols. It'll have a little flag for an American slicer. It'll have a ribbon for crisp and juicy fresh taste. And it's got a tongue with a circle with a line through it. And it says skin without the bitter bite. So some of these cucumbers are pest-resistant, which was, the Diva. The Diva said it was pest-resistant, so it probably has a very thick skin. And then some of the cucumbers have very thin skin where you do not even have to peel the skin off. So if you like to just eat your cucumbers without peeling them, the Garden Sweet Burpless has a smooth, thin skin. This one also, the Perseus Hybrid, has a thin, tender skin. So for humans who want to eat the skin and not have to peel it, because they don't like the tough skin, like the stuff you get at the grocery store, you could get these types of hybrids. But remember, if it's going to have a thinner skin, it may be more vulnerable to like bird pecks or critter bites or bugs going in there. But if you got this one, it would be disease resistant. You wouldn't have the mosaic virus, the mildews, or the wilts. The other part is that these are for slicing, like for salads or sandwiches, or for snacking, snacking on. So these are eating cucumbers. Do not use eating cucumbers for pickling. You will not be as satisfied with the results. This page has pickling cucumbers. And the reason that's important is because in the pickling process, if you decide to pickle them, a lot of times they're either pressure canned, or they are hot water bath canned, like water bath canned with hot water. So they're going to cook a little bit. And then in the process of sitting on the shelf, they may end up getting soggy. These would definitely be very soft and they would lose all their crispness. But if you actually get a pickling cucumber, that's going to be a different story. And let's see. So this one says gherkins. Do you like gherkin pickles? Then maybe you get this one. It is a hybrid. Doesn't mean it's a GMO. Holds its crisp texture better than other picklers. Disease resistant. It says bumper crops. This is going to mean you're out there every single day checking your cucumbers and cutting off or gently pulling off the ones that are ready to go. Because if it's going to say bumper crops, if it's going to say vigorous growth, then these things are going to be on lockdown and they're just going to be growing and growing and growing. But they're only going to last about 65 days. So it's going to be important. Like if you go on vacation for more than a couple days, you're going to want people to come by and be cutting these off for you and using them and taking them home or putting them in storage. Because as soon as one of these gets overripe, that whole vine could die right back. Because once this is overripe, that means there's seeds in there. And the plant thinks, oh, I'm done. My job is over. So the pickling cucumbers also tend to have less seeds. This one up here, the pickle hybrid, perfect pickle hybrid, says it's got a very small seed cavity and a pleasing texture. Maybe you don't have a lot of trellising. Maybe you're using tomato cages. That's okay too, because you could get something that is a bush pickle. These grow really well in tomato cages. It's only 4 foot tall. That means the vines are only 4 foot tall. And then here's an important word to know, determinate. Determinate means it all grows up at the same time and everything is ready all about the same time. So the vines grow to a determined length of 4 foot, determinate. It's already determined ahead of time. And also the fruit is ready almost all at the same time. So if you were to plant these, you have to be ready to pick them all around the same time. They'll all be ready around the same time, and to be able to process them or use them around the same time. And this one keeps its snap after pickling, and it only takes 50 days. So again, remember, if we've got 150 days for growing in the worm season, you can wait and wait and wait and wait to start things like this. And actually, the longer you wait to start your cucumbers, the less pest pressure you'll have, because people who are starting them really early, that's where the pests are going to go. And then after a certain point, those pests are all at other people's yards, and you can start these with less pest pressure, like the cucumber beetles and things like that. Then this one is interesting, Miss Pickler Hybrid. They keep their medium green color. They hold their crunch. These look like the kind that you would use for sweet pickles. They're ready quickly, 50 days. They're all female vines, so you do not have to have a pollinator. And then this is dill that does not, it says it doesn't bolt. Dill foliage is slower to bolt than other varieties. Bolting means they're going to send up flowers to make seeds to keep their life going. The temperatures are really warm, and the plant says, oh, I'm going to die, so I need to reproduce myself. So these would not have flower heads as quickly as some of the other kind, and they would not have seeds either as quickly. Supermax Pickling Hybrid. These, they don't get soft or mushy. They have very few seeds, and they have a dense, juicy flesh with a satisfying crunch and mild flavor, with hints of melon. That sounds delicious. And these are 50 to 70 days. 50 to 70 days. One thing you can think of with the days to maturity is that you've got time in the warm season. So you've got time in the warm season to plant a round of cucumbers, and then about 2 weeks later, plant another round of cucumbers, and then maybe 2 weeks later, plant another round of cucumbers. And now, would I plant them all in the same place? I don't think I would. I like to have different plantings in different sections of the garden, just in case. So just in case the cucumber beetles come around and they take out these are still available. Just in case the deer come and they eat these are still available. So that's what I like to do when I do my planting like that. Have fun. Look at your cucumbers and your seeds catalogs, because you've got plenty of time to choose them and for them to arrive in the mail. And don't start them now.
If you enjoyed this, share it with a friend and consider subscribing to the channel for more. Thanks so much for watching.